Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. We had one vlog and today we're gonna do something different. We're gonna do a 2024 wrap up of everything I enjoyed over the course of 2024. I did this video last year as like a little favorites video and I thought I'd do it again because I liked filming it, but let me know if you want these kind of videos. I really like watching like monthly favorites or yearly favorites, but I don't feel like I have enough to talk about every month because I don't go out and just buy a ton of stuff every month, if that makes sense. But I thought I would do a little wrap up for the year. I have my handy dandy notes here and I thought I would start off by talking about some of my favorite just books and entertainment, things like that. So let's start off with books because I do have them here, but I narrowed it down to 4 of my favorite reads. And I'm gonna start off with the nonfiction. My first one is The Art Thief. And this is based on a true story. And I think it's absolutely fascinating, but it's about a thief. His name was Breitweiser, and he managed to steal over $2 billion worth of art across several European countries, Belgium, Sweden, France, Germany, and this kind of details how he did it and what pieces he stole. And I feel like this is like worthy of a movie, and like you can literally read through and see some of the artifacts that he stole. Has lots of imagery in it. If you don't know this about me, I love art. I love art history. So this was a 5-star read for me. If you're into nonfiction and you want to read something a little bit different, I think this is actually, for a nonfiction book, is very thrilling because it details the crimes, or the heists in action. So I feel like this reads very easily. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. So this is one of my favorites. The other nonfiction that I had, because I wanted to read a little bit more nonfiction this year, and I feel like when people say read nonfiction, a lot of people my age always gravitate towards self-help books, which is not really my vibe, but I really like the arts and reading about things like that. I do enjoy biography. So the next book that I read is Just Kids by Patti Smith, and I think this book was so beautifully, like you can tell she's a poet because the way she writes is so lyrical and her prose is so beautiful. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of Patti Smith or her music, but the reason I've been drawn to this book for years is because I am a huge fan of Robert Mapplethorpe, his photography. I went to one of his exhibits in New York when I lived there, and seeing his photography live in person is just so magical. So reading it from her perspective as his like lifelong partner was so interesting. And again, you can see so many photos in here, which are absolutely beautiful. I thought it was a stunning book. I think this is definitely one worth reading, and it was definitely a fave for the year. All right, going in the complete opposite direction of reality, we have fantasy. I think, just like every other basic bitch, I loved Fourth Wing. If you like dragons, if you want to be taken out of this world, if you just want to get out of reality, I sometimes feel like I need that kind of escape, and I feel like I'm horrified every time I turn the news on. So for me, fantasy is like the ultimate way to get away from that. I can't say this is the best written fantasy, but it's very entertaining. It's a page turner. You can literally read through this in like a couple of days. I wouldn't say it's like quality literature, but it's massively entertaining. And I did read the second book as well, and I am looking forward to the third book, which comes out in January. So I did give this one about 5 stars for what it is. It's nice. The next one I have is actually a romance, and again, I find a lot of romances kind of hard to read because I feel like they follow a very distinctive pattern where it's like grumpy sunshine or enemies to lovers, and then there's a third act breakup and blah blah blah, and I don't love a lot of them. But this book really surprised me, by Abby Jimenez. It's Just for the Summer, and I picked this up while I was on the beach thinking this was just like a really quick flick of a book, and it was actually unbelievably deep for a romance. I thought the way they described the two main characters' background, Emma and Justin. Emma deals with a very toxic mother-daughter relationship, and the way that was described was very, not gut-wrenching, but I think it can resonate with a lot of people. And same thing with Justin. He has his own problems as well. But I just think this is so this has so much more depth than so many romances out there. I read one of her other books, and there she explored the topic of someone who has like serious social anxiety and ADHD. And I just think her characters have much more depth to them than, you know, your typical, I don't know, cowboy romance or whatever the freaking heck people are reading these days. So I did thoroughly enjoy this book. In terms of a romance, I think this is the most quality light romance you can find if you want something just to pass the time. So I would definitely recommend that. And those are some of the books that I enjoyed. All right, so books aside, in terms of TV, I have 5 standout favorites that I've enjoyed throughout the year. Starting with the most recent one that I watched, which is Day of the Jackal. It stars Eddie Redmayne, and I think this is his first foray into like TV production. Previously, I think he's only ever done movies, but the premise of the show is Eddie Redmayne's character is a former special ops agent, British intelligence, whatever, and he then becomes a mercenary for hire, and he got a special case assigned, and it kind of follows that special case that he was assigned. And I think it was so brilliantly done. It felt like movie quality in terms of production, and I don't think Eddie Redmayne has ever been in anything that's subpar. So as soon as I saw Eddie Redmayne, I was like, click, gotta watch it. And I gave that show 5 stars. I watched a lot of TV or I didn't even watch it. There was so much TV out there now that didn't even really pique my interest, because so much of it just seems so icky to me these days that nothing really even catches my attention. But this one is phenomenal. 5 stars, definitely recommend. The other one, I think this is on Hulu in the US, if I believe. I'm not sure in other countries where you can watch it, but it did just win a Golden Globe, and that is Shogun. And it is like a perfect show. I will say this is a show that you have to pay attention while watching. You can't just have it like on in the background or be like sitting on your iPhone, because a lot of the show is in a foreign language, so there are subtitles. So you have to be watching the TV screen, reading the subtitles, and paying attention. And the best way I can describe it is if Game of Thrones was set in like 15th century Japan. And it documents a British, what are Brits these days? A British missionary who arrives in Japan, or a British, I believe the details are a little bit fuzzy because I watched it about 6 months ago, but I think he presents himself as a British missionary promoting Protestant faith, but I think in reality he is a pirate, if I remember correctly. But it's set in Japan, and obviously he is met in a very hostile way, and he has to learn about Japanese culture and things like that. And they have real Japanese actors in the show. A lot of the show is spoken in Japanese, and the costumes, the set design, I think everything was filmed in Japan. It was absolutely phenomenal. One of the male Japanese actors won a Golden Globe for best supporting actor, I believe, and I think it can be better deserved. I don't think I'm the best at describing shows, but definitely one of my favorites, and it's pretty violent, I will give it that. So, but I think you could get that from my description of Game of Thrones set in Japan. So if you're not, it's not a lighthearted show. So don't go in there expecting that. The last serious show that I have that I think was absolutely phenomenal is Masters of the Air, or Masters of Air. And this one is on Apple TV, and it's starring Austin Butler and Callum Turner, and it is absolutely phenomenal. It's about the US bombers in the Second World War and how they would orchestrate all of the bombing attacks during the Second World War. It follows one specific unit, which had some of the highest death counts in terms of how many bombs they dropped, and also how many pilots they lost. And I think it's such a unfathomable true story. There's also a documentary that accompanies it, so you can watch the whole, I think it's like 10, it's a mini series. There's not gonna be a second season, but I think it's 10 episodes, and then there's also a documentary that follows it. It's all based on real people, real pilots, and I think Austin Butler and Callum Turner did a phenomenal job. what's his face? Barry Keoghan is also in it. And I thought it was beautiful. It was a beautiful show. Also not lighthearted whatsoever. Hard to watch at times, but I think a very, very valuable story to learn. Departing from the serious shows, we have my 2 faves of the year for like a lighthearted watch that puts a smile on your face. And one of them is Only Murders in the Building with Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez. It's a very lighthearted murder mystery type environment. They have several seasons that you can binge watch if you haven't watched it already. Also been nominated for Golden Globes for several years in a row. I don't think they've won anything, but it's nice to watch something that follows a very specific topic like murder, but in a very lighthearted way. And it's almost kind of like the game of Clue. Like, it's just kind of like ditzy almost, but in a very, very funny way. I think the jokes are hilarious, and I think it's worth watching or giving it a shot. For the episodes are short. I think they're 30-40 minutes, and I think it's a well set show. I don't really think there's an equivalent to it. And essentially a murder occurs in the building where these residents are living in, and they decide to solve it by starting a podcast, and kind of things go on from there. But it's a very, very funny show. Would definitely recommend. My last one is one of my favorites for the year. I am so gutted it wasn't renewed for a season 2. It is My Lady Jane. And I think if you know going into it what to expect, it is a satire. It's a blend. If you are on Book Talk, or if you like silly frilly reads for books sometimes, I think this hits the nail on the head. It is a satire. It is a fantasy. It is a romance. It's like the best 3 all combined in one. And the premise is, what would have happened if Lady Jane did not in fact die? Lady Jane is a real historical character. She was in line for the English throne after, was it Queen Mary that died? No, Edward. Henry VIII had several children, and then, which is Queen Mary, Elizabeth II, or Elizabeth I, and Edward, and the Tudors. Essentially, it was set during the Tudor time period, which I love. I'm fascinated by the Tudor history, again, because I just have been since I was a little kid, so that piqued my interest immediately. And Lady Jane was on the throne for I think 9 days, and then she was beheaded. So this revisits the story, saying, what if she wasn't? And they kind of ran with that. So it's completely made up. The character is real, but everything else is completely made up. And they really threw a bunch of like fantasy in there, satire. The banter is so witty. I think both the male and female lead are so charismatic. Their chemistry is just like off the charts. I loved it. I think this one's on Amazon Prime. I think Amazon made a huge mistake of canceling the show. I just don't think it gave it enough time. I don't think it garnered enough views in the first month, but after that it garnered a shit ton, and they had already canceled it, which makes me very, very, very sad. But please watch the first season. It comes to a nice like ending, but they left it open for a second season, so you still get a little bit of a culmination, so just consider it a mini series now. But I would definitely recommend My Lady Jane. I will not shut up about it to anybody who will listen, in terms of a lighthearted watch. I guess Bridgerton-esque, but not really. I don't think it's that similar to Bridgerton, but it's awesome. It's just fun. It's a fun show, so give that a watch. And then quickly, let's run through some of my lifestyle favorites. I don't have a ton, but in terms of like clothing and things like that, I only have 2. I think last year I didn't show any bags or shoes, if I can recall correctly, but my favorite purchase of the year that I'm very proud of is probably my Lady DeJoy. Here she is in her full glory. She is completely black hardware, and she has a little twilly wrapped around her. And this is the perfect, and she's like half patent and half just plain Napa leather. She fits so much for a small bag. I can fit my camera in here, my iPhone, my wallet, and then some makeup. And I just think she is perfect for what she is in terms of she could be used during the day and like slung over your shoulder. She comes with a crossbody strap. You could also wear it just by the top handle, so you get 3 different ways of wearing it. And I couldn't be more happy and thrilled with it. I've had this bag for 6 months and I've worn it so much and there's not a scratch on it. I mean, I've been careful with it, but I just think this is a phenomenal bag. I love her so much. So that's the bag. And then next, in terms of shoes, are these bad boys. These are my Stuart Weitzman platform heels. These were my rehearsal dinner heels that I bought for the purpose of my wedding. And since I have worn them so much, I've worn them I think to 2 weddings. I wore them on our honeymoon. They are so comfortable because of the giant platform. They are patent leather, so they don't get dirty quickly, and if they do, you can just take a little magic eraser and wipe them off. So it's not a super delicate material, rain or shine. Like, I walked in grass in these and then have just been able to wipe them off. I couldn't recommend them more. They're so comfy. I got these on sale. I did not pay full price, and Stuart Weitzman is usually pretty good about running sales at least once or twice a year. I think I got these over the Labor Day sales right before the wedding, and it's a permanent style, so you can get these whenever you want in several different colorways. I love them so much. I'm considering getting them in black. But yeah, love these shoes. Next, we have a makeup bag. 2 makeup bags, to be specific. And that is a vanity case. So this is my vanity case that I have for my home. This houses every single piece of makeup that I own, and it's by the brand Etoile. And the reason that I love it is you have a compartment here that already has organization built in, so everything is nicely organized. You can see everything when you open it up, and you're not like digging around a normal bag trying to find your products. It fits so much. And then it also has a top section right here where I fit my kind of like bigger palettes, and it also comes with a travel mirror. So if you're ever in a hotel where you don't have like good lighting in the bathroom, you can take this mirror and like prop it up. It props up just like this. Hi, there you are. And sit it on a different part of your hotel room. So this is awesome. I will say I don't usually need this much makeup when I travel. Sometimes if I'm getting glammed up, like for weddings, I might bring this whole case, or if I'm going for a very long period of time, like 2 weeks or something, I might bring this like full vanity case. But for the most part, this big one stays at home as my main makeup bag that I use. This is also like, I don't know if you can see, but the quality of this, like, I think it's vegan leather technically, but it's so nice and it wipes down super easily. And then the one that I travel with is this slightly smaller vanity case. I have brought this to Europe, across the country so many times. It's been through a lot, and it has that same structure of, it has 2 slots for makeup brushes, and then here, this needs a little bit of a wipe down, but this wipes down perfectly. So easily with a little bit of micellar water, unlike so many other makeup bags where they get dirty and then they're just dirty forever. This one wipes down super well, and you can see the kind of the organizational compartments that you already have built into the bag. And this to me is the perfect smaller trip bag. I can fit all of my essentials in this small vanity case, and you can see the size comparison in terms of like how large they are. This one versus this one. I mean, it's pretty substantial. It's like half the size in width and in height and in everything. So yeah, love that. Next one we have is a recent purchase. Well, not recent. When did I get this? 6-7 months ago. Are my straighteners from GHD. I have been pretty much exclusively using the Dyson Airwrap on my hair for years, but the problem with the Dyson Airwrap is it's very bulky to pack, and it also does not work with outlets outside of the US. And I travel outside of the US pretty frequently, and I also want to save space in my luggage, so that is why I bought this straightener, because I can straighten my hair, I can fake a blowout, I can curl my hair. Like today I curled my hair with my straighteners, and I think it doesn't look the same as if I did a full blowout with my Dyson, but pretty damn close. And it takes up way less space in your luggage, especially if you're traveling with a carry-on like I do a lot, especially if I'm flying for work internationally. I don't have the space for all of the attachments and for the Dyson and for how clunky the cord is versus this little skinny straightener. If you don't know how to curl your hair with a straightener, I highly encourage you to learn, because this can save you so much more room than bringing both. If you learn how to curl your hair with a straightener, you can do pretty much any kind of hairstyle you want with a straightener, I promise you. So I would definitely invest in a good one. This GHD brand is absolutely fantastic. It has a bunch of like high tech stuff to protect your hair. Like I think you can't control the temperature on this because it auto detects like how thick your hair is and how much heat it needs. So if you have thinner hair, it won't have such a high heat setting. So I would say this is a really good brand to get. And then speaking of hair, I think this is the year I have finally just decided to cut the crap and stop buying super expensive hair products, especially now that I do not dye my hair. I don't bleach my hair. I have completely virgin hair again. Well, not again, I've had it for a few years now, but so many products are geared towards damaged and dyed hair on the market these days, and I just don't need that. So I was thinking back to what I used in high school and when my hair was undyed, not bleached, and it was super luscious and long and shiny, and it was never weighed down by like really heavy products. And I was like, what did I use? Drugstore. Drugstore is what I use, and I'm now back on that bandwagon. May I present to you the best shampoo and conditioner money can buy for like $5. Pantene, baby. I personally love the volume because again, I don't need a super deep moisturizing treatment. I just want something that really strips the grease out of my hair. And these two are it. The volume, body Pantene conditioner and shampoo is beautiful. If I want something a little bit thicker every now and again, I don't use this all the time. You can see how disgusting this is because it lives in my shower. It's the Ava NYC Therapy Session Hair Mask, powered by argan oil and plant protein. This stuff is phenomenal. It's so thick. You can see I've used up pretty much all of it. It's so thick, it smells amazing. Your hair is so silky smooth the next day after you use this. You can use it to slick your hair back and like tie it up in a knot and then just walk around your day and really have it deep treated. You can use this in place of conditioner if you feel like your hair needs it. And it's you can buy this at the grocery store or Target or, you know, Amazon, wherever the heck you want to. It's not expensive. Like people are charging $50 for a hair mask these days. And I'm like, in this economy, no thank you. And then in terms of styling products, again, to quickly run through them, heat protectant, Tresemme, can't beat it. You don't need to spend a shit ton of money on heat protectant. This works just fine. There's a reason people have been using it for the past like 10, 15 years. I've been using this since high school. It's phenomenal. Probably even since middle school that thing's been around. And then this new line from Nexxus is pretty great. I have every single thing from this line in terms of hairstyling. The volume mousse for when I do a blowout is great, no complaints. The hairspray, again, just a bog standard hairspray, and it's beautiful. I think the scent is nice. And then the last thing they have is a hair oil, which is pretty good. I ran out of that at this point. And then they have a hair wax stick. Love the wax stick, especially for when you're slicking back your hair. All four of those styling products from this kind of rose gold colored line, beautiful. Would highly recommend. Taking a breath. In terms of makeup, I will walk you through some makeup that's really fast. One of my favorite things I purchased this year, again, because I travel a lot. I've been on like 38 flights, I think, this year, or something like that, 35, 38, I can't remember. And especially for work, when I travel, when it's a quick trip, this Makeup Forever palette is fan-freaking-tastic because you can have your foundation, your bronzer, your contour, blushes, highlighters, all in one little discreet palette. Like I can pack this, some mascara, some lipstick, and some powder and be done. Because I'm not trying to glam up for work. I'm just trying to look like a human and then move on. And then because I've been battling with so much acne this year, I've really placed a lot of focus on base products. And one of my favorite foundations this year was definitely the Armani Luminous Silk. I don't know why I waited so long to try this, but this is an absolutely outstanding foundation. It lasts so long. It's absolutely beautiful. I have zero notes on this foundation. I love it. The other foundation that I like, it's downstairs, so I'm not gonna run and get it, but the one that I use on the day-to-day, I don't use the Armani one day-to-day just because she's expensive, okay? But the one I use day-to-day is the Merit Foundation Stick. It's and then blend it out with a brush. It is so fast. They have no pore clogging ingredients in this foundation or in that foundation stick or these concealers that I'm about to show you, because I have literally gone onto acneclinic.com and I've checked almost every product on Sephora. I swear to God, I do that every single time now when I buy base makeup is I check to make sure it doesn't have acne causing ingredients in it, because you would be surprised. It says like non-pore clogging on the packaging, and then really it has things that trigger acne for acne prone skin. So I check everything. The other thing that I've loved is the Saie concealer. It is the Slip Tint Concealer. This is one I just want to show you guys. Will it focus? Can you see that I have like scraped this all the way through? It is empty, completely empty. And this is how much I love it. I don't think I've ever repurchased a concealer. This is the new one. This is a brand new, fully stocked tube. That's how much I love this. This is like my day-to-day concealer with the Merit foundation stick. I love this. It's not too drying under the eyes. It's not the longest lasting one, but that's not what I need for the day-to-day. I think it looks like skin. I think it's absolutely beautiful. This is my favorite one for day-to-day. And then if this concealer right here from NARS, this is when I have like a large and in charge breakout that I really need to cover. It's their little soft matte pot concealer. Again, I don't know how much. This is what it looks like. This will cover pretty much anything. I think technically this has maybe one pore clogging ingredient in it. I think it was talc. I can't remember, but it's farther down on the list. But this product is so good, and I use it not every day, so I'm willing to risk it for the biscuit, especially if I'm going to a wedding or if I'm going out and I want my skin to look like pristine. I will use this and I do not care. I think this is absolutely fantastic. I love that. So I think those would be my standout makeup products. Like there are other things like lip glosses and lipsticks that I've loved, but I think in terms of like true finds, I think that's one of them. If you don't have, if you were to buy one thing from all of those, especially if you travel a lot and if you want to get the most bang for your buck, I would go for this, because I just, like, that's crazy. Look how much product you get. I mean, I'm sorry, you can tell I use mine because it's disgusting, but like, look at that. Got a peach blush, pink, like everything you could want, everything in one palette. And then you're like Picasso over here, mixing and matching everything on your face. It's so fun to use. Again, I don't know if this is because I love to paint and I love art and all of that, but I just love doing like dab, 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 dab. Awesome. Last but certainly not least, my main favorite of the year, of my whole life, is my dog, Mabel. For those of you who haven't met Mabel, this is Mabel. I'm sure you've seen her in some of my videos. We also have an introductory video of her on my channel. Yes, big yawn. Big yawn. She is now a full year old. Aren't you, baby? She's a full year, and she is a medium size Bernedoodle. Oh yes, the drama. Cue the drama. And she is just the light of my life. She's completely changed everything. She's my best friend, and she's in a mood right now, but she's my favorite. My favorite for life. Dancing through life. Smile. Okay, you can go. And I think that is it. That's all I've got for you. So a few lifestyle things, a few beauty, a few clothing items. The only other thing that I could possibly mention, I think, this year in terms of like house related things and kitchen related things is my Breville. I love that coffee maker. If you are in the market for a coffee maker, get this one. Here's a screenshot. I love it. She's pricey, but she's worth it. And on that note, these are all my recs. That's all I have. Good night.